Well, good day and I love you. I'm Heather Peterson Lockhart and I am the Chiefess. Welcome to episode 2 of I Am a Village. This is my story. Okay, so we left off on April 5th of 2007. Okay? Let me do the required disclaimer in the beginning. I do want y'all to know as I tell this story that all parties are happy, healthy, agreeable, and on talking terms. I've waited a really long time to tell this story until I could do the necessary healing in my own heart to be able to tell a story without resentment and animosity, and to be able to share my own ignorance, my own learning, and the beautiful solutions and connection that have come as a result of this whole process. So parts of this are really challenging for me already, but I said I was going to do this, so here we are. So, we left off on April 5th of 2007. By the way, you can go to my YouTube and watch episode 1. I will number all of these and upload them. I'm not doing them live because I can focus better this way. I'm not distracted, and I can also refill my coffee and take potty breaks if needed. It's awesome, right? Okay, so for the first time, on April 5th of 2007, I am sitting in a meeting of recovery that I have sat in off and on for years before with the same people that have been there for years before, but something is different. I am willing to surrender the high cost of low living. I've had enough. I've had enough, and I'm morally bankrupt, and I have no more fight in me. What I realized today is I have no more resistance. I don't even necessarily have like willingness or hope or understanding of anything better. I'm just fucking tired of fucking up. You know what I mean? So, I listen to the same people who have always shared their stories and told me stuff, but this time I'm listening differently. I was a personal trainer at that point. I'd been in personal business for 3 years. It's so funny how spirit works. In 2004, I created Fit Mama Fitness, and I was the Fit Mama. That's how long I've had this sweatsuit. I am funny about certain things that carry memorabilia and hold energy, and I chose this today to wear to be cozy and comfy, and I love the color. And as I was getting ready to start this, I was like, wow, isn't that funny? So I was the Fit Mama. I created Fit Mama Fitness in 2004 and went into personal business as a personal trainer and independent trainer. So I was independently contracting at a gym and training people in their homes. I'd go to people's homes. And I remember at that point, like, you know, some people had said, wow, she's the sickest healthy person we know, because I would be like super healthy, like, you know, this robust, beautiful, fit body, and then I would go on a bender and I would lose. One time I lost 14 pounds. No, I lost 10 pounds. 10 pounds in 14 days. Yeah, I lost 10 pounds of muscle in 14 days. So I would go from looking like a fit girl to a crackhead. You know what I mean? So, at this point, that was my last hurrah. My job knew that something was really going on with me, and he was like, my fitness director was like, you're either a drug addict or an alcoholic or both, or you got some stuff going on, and we really love you, but we want you to go get some help and get yourself well, and then you can come back. Because I mean, I was the highest seller at that gym. Like when we weren't meeting our quota for fitness sales, I would just like talk to my clients, and they would like purchase their next group of sessions a little early, and they would either get extra sessions or like a cool Under Armour bag or something like that to go with it. So I was a good deal for them, and they were a good deal for me. I just wasn't a good deal for me. So I share that because sitting in this meeting at this point, this is the first time in my life where my then fiance said, okay, this was the last time, we talked about this. And so you've got 30 days to figure it out, and you need to find a new place to live. And I was like, I get it, like I wasn't trying to like explain myself anymore. I wasn't trying to negotiate. I was surrendered to the process. So I had no place to be, and I forget at what point here I chose to let my kids go stay with my parents so I could focus on myself. I was empty. I can hear my voice quivering. Whoa, that was such a time. I didn't know how to take care of myself, let alone my kids. And I had tried for so long to figure it out. And I couldn't figure it out. And it just got worse for everyone. So I agreed to my girls going to stay with my parents for a while so I could get my shit together and learn how to take care of myself. So I did two major things different that I can think of right off the bat. One was like I parked my ass in that place where we had all these recovery meetings. I say that place. I'm not ambiguous because I lack memory of detail. I'm ambiguous because I belong to a program of recovery that chooses to stay anonymous on all levels. So we have clubhouses for these places where at some of them there are meetings pretty much around the clock. And I was lucky enough and fortunate enough, see, I hadn't even thought about that I happen to live in a place where that happened. It's always for us. So, I happen to live in a place where there's meetings around the clock, and I had no place to be and no one to take care of. So I parked my ass there around the clock and took in meetings and played spades and smoked cigarettes. What I did not do was drink and get in fights and put my hands on people. Things were real simple for a while, like really, really simple. I remember being in a Best Buy one time in really early recovery, and I was in like early recovery a lot, y'all. Like I had tried this whole sober thing. I don't know why I put on makeup. I had tried this whole sober thing before, but something was different. Like I just hadn't hit that bottom, and this was that bottom, and I knew it, and something was different. And I did not want to drink, and I did not want to do drugs, and I did not want to escape my life. I did not want to get in fights, and I did not want to put my hands on people. I did not want to act a fool. So I remember being in Best Buy one time, and I don't remember what I found overwhelming. God only knows. I mean, shit, it could have been just fucking talking to the sales rep, I don't know. And I was sitting with, I remember I was with that fiance at the time, and then I just really wanted to drink. I just wanted to tell him that I was going to go disappear for whatever reason, like I always did, and then be gone and do my thing. And I didn't want to do that. So I remember I went in the bathroom and I put down a paper towel and I got down on my hands and knees and I asked the power greater than me to remove the want to drink and drug. And I decided I would stay in that bathroom on my knees until I decided I didn't want to go disappear. And so I did that, and then I came back out and rejoined him. And life was like that for a while. It wasn't even hour to hour. Can't see what my hair is doing. Just don't mind that. It was minute to minute. I didn't know how to deal with like regular life stimuluses. Stimulus. Is it stimuli? I love that. I'm giggling because those are that's for anyone who knows me, knows that I just got my favorite thing. There's only a few words that go that way. Like octopus is octopi. You know what I mean? So if I stumble across one of those words, it's like my favorite things. Yo, I hope I always stay like that. Like the simple things that amuse my mind right now. I love that. I love that I'm not amused because I didn't used to be this way. So back to on track. I didn't know how to deal with life. Everything was overwhelming. Conflict was overwhelming. The thought of doing good was overwhelming. Everything was overwhelming. I had to learn everything again. I was just a baby. I was a baby and I didn't have a clue how to take care of myself. And I had a whole lot of time on my hands. And so the other thing that was, I believe, instrumental in my recovery was I decided to start training to compete then. I had done one show before. I had wanted to be a figure competitor for a long time, but I couldn't keep my ass sober long enough to like hold a diet or train or stay committed. I just was like, I was all talking no game, man. I was an active alcoholic and addict. Shit, you can't hold your shit. I can't hold my shit together when I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I had done this one show before. So funny. That's a great story. I'll tell it another time. And I got drunk at a show. I got drunk at the show in Virginia Beach. And befriended the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls. Anyway, I was so crazy. So with getting sober, I was like, yo, I can do this. I can plot my food. I can train every day. I can do this. And so I did. And it was the one thing that people in my program of recovery advised me against that I actually went ahead and did. Because this time when I sat in those rooms, I did choose to listen to what they had to tell me. And I did choose to follow the instructions given me, unlike before, because I kind of figured that like they knew what they were talking about. Excuse me, it's a little chillier this morning, even though the pollen is thick. So, I did choose to do this because I have like an infinite amount of energy, and I needed to channel my energy in some way that was constructive, and I needed to channel my energy. Like I didn't need this much like going on inside me without a way to get it out, which is always the way that which has always been the reason that exercise has been key for me, because I just feel like I would explode or implode or, well, I mean, I did both of those things in different versions throughout my life. You know what I mean? You could call it that. So I started training to compete then, and I ended up doing 4 shows in 2 months time in the first 6 months of my sobriety. I banged out 2 shows back to back, and then a month later I did 2 more shows, if I remember correctly. And it came naturally to me. It was a beautiful relief to need to journal everything I ate, to need to measure everything I ate, to need to have to go to the gym, to have to apply myself in this physical way, to have to be in some place. to have to drink water. In fact, anyone who's known me for a long time knows that at this point, I start taking that gallon water jug around with me. That like later people drew caricatures and I would have that gallon water jug with me. And what I did not realize at the time that I realized later is that that big gallon of water was my security blanket. When you walk into a place where people are drinking, if you're holding a big gallon of water, people are usually like, oh, I see you brought your own, or you don't need anything to drink, or you've got yours, or something like that. It kind of cushioned my not knowing. Like when I first got sober, I didn't want anyone to know that I was in a program of recovery. I didn't want anyone to know that I was trying to do something different. I didn't want anyone to know what a fuck up I felt like. I wasn't like I am now, where I tell everyone. I was scared about everything. So I adopt this lifestyle that I can, come to think of, there's my first character. That's a trip. My fit girl is my first character that I can throw myself into and get in this persona that's different from my old. And it keeps me busy. And it's challenging. And it goes along with my program of recovery, of like faking it till I make it, and seeing things a different way, and acting as if, and all these silly little colloquialisms and phrases that they say in these programs of recovery that sound so silly, but they are energetically and vibrationally sound. Play with those words. So I start to behave differently and to show up in my life and to move my ass in a different way. And then, you know, some time passes and I guess I realize now I start to see myself differently. I'm not the same fuck up then. I'm a personal trainer who is known in my community. I have a legit business. I'm thriving in my business. I'm thriving in my health, in my body, in my physique. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting healthier. I'm becoming more capable. I'm really into this healthy lifestyle. I'm really into my program of recovery. I am like all systems go. And for me, that's intense back then. Like, I'm a firecracker. I'm a Sagittarius rising, Capricorn ascendant. And, you know, like, I show up like, boom, I'm sun in the first house, yo. Like, I identify as the sun. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like. I feel like, boom. And I feel like fire inside. And so when I'm passionate about something, I'm sure everyone around me knows it, you know? I don't see how you couldn't. So I am the queen of fitness. I am the fit mama. I get through this first, I haven't thought about all this time in a long time. I go through that first year of my life. I'm back on track, so to speak, like taking care of myself. In fact, I'm taking care of myself better than I ever have before. You know, I'm kind of like an Insta fanatic because it's just the way I am. And I still am like this now. I just tell people I channel it better. I don't think I'm any less extreme in nature than I was when I used to get in trouble. I think I'm just getting much more better. I was going to say much better at channeling my energy because I collect more tools in my toolbox. I used to just have a hammer, but I have more tools now. I have more stuff. So I go through that first year of my life. I'm an active competitor. And then after that first year, my parents and I and my then fiance decide that it's time for the kids to come back. And so that's a big integration with them coming back. kind of a perpetual, makes it hard for me to breathe right now. Feels like I'm not good enough. Feels like I'm not going to be able to do this. Feels like I got two little faces looking at me, expecting answers in a way that I don't know and I don't have. But what I do have is willingness and vulnerability, and I'm raw as fuck, and I am fire, and I am strong, and I am brave. I will give myself that. I look at that. I am brave. I am so brave. I am willing, and so I'm trying, and so it's funny because I remember what my body looked like. I'm just getting my little muscles, you know, starting to feel like I'm a strong girl. And I tell them that I don't have my kids, the twins. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. That I have no idea how to live life, let alone to be a mom. But I'm gonna give them everything I have. That I am in it to win it and willing to do whatever it takes. I can remember seeing the grace in their eyes as I said that to them. Because they could feel that I meant it. And you know, they were kids. I don't really think they expected anything of me. They were just happy I was there. So, I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm okay. She wants to sit with me. She does this. Y'all have seen this. It's the cutest, isn't it? Come on. Can you lay down? Can you just... Oh, no, I'm not going to pick you up. You're covered in pollen. I just can't. Can you lay down? Lay down, Mama. Looks like someone's going to get a bath after this. So, I'm in the fit lifestyle. I'm back at that same gym that I was at before. It's a trip. And I can stay training, legit train. I bring the kids. I have lots of clients a day. My business is doing really well. I'm continuing to compete. And at that point, I'm building my muscle and I'm doing really well. Like, I never placed below second in figure on like the state level, even on the national level. I mean, on the like, I do really well. And then I'm starting to get, as I go higher, as I'm starting to compete in like national level shows, I'm too muscular. In fact, I remember competing at, I was trying to think of what it showed. I think it was like NPC Mid-Atlantic, right? I don't think if that's something like that. I don't even know if that's a show anymore. Y'all forgive me if I'm just slaughtering this stuff. It was in Pittsburgh, and I remember my friend went with me and she took pictures, and I remember looking after prejudging, and I was like, yo, who's the dude on the stage? Like, who's the hoss? Which I know you can't say that stuff now with the whole gender thing, but whatever. And she's like, that's you. And I was like, whoa. Like, I just look like a beast on stage, like next to these like little girls. That's what it looked like. And I remember at that show, I was like, dude, I don't think I want to go back. I decided after prejudging that I didn't want to go back to the show. And it was a trip because that show I told you about in the beginning of this, of this broadcast. Remember, I got drunk after prejudging, so I didn't go back to the show, if I remember correctly. I don't think I went back. No, I did. Dear God. Anyway, I don't even remember all that. It's too fuzzy, and I'm not going to recall it back right now because I'm focused. I'm so proud of me. So, side note, for all of you who have children who have been diagnosed with all those stupid letters, like the ADD ones and the ADHD and the OCD and the crap, learn to channel your energy. Mama's in the house. Check it out. Focused and present. Conductive, capable, beautiful. I decide with her not to go back to the show, and I'm not, like, nothing's wrong. Like, I'm all there. I don't get, it's not because I'm getting drunk. It's not because I'm ducking out. It's not because I'm avoiding. I just really make a change. I decide. I was like, you know what? That's just not the way I want to go. Like, I was like, I remember cracking the joke. I was like, I'd have to sit on my ass and eat pizza to have that body because I'm an ectomesomorph, which means that, like, if I look at weights, if I walk in the weight room and I, like, touch them, I can get muscle so easy. Then if I'm out the weight room, not talking about the weights, not touching them, I lose the muscle and I just get skinny. I'm very ectomorphic. I get very skinny when I don't train. So for me, like, to keep training and to keep dieting in a way that I'm getting stronger, I'm going to keep building muscle. And so I'm looking at these girls realizing that's not the way I'm ever going to be able to go. And so there's really no reason for me to go back unless I, like, just want to do it for the fun and the experience, which I don't really care. I just want to eat and kick it with my friend, and then I think we go enjoy Pittsburgh. And so I decided not to go back to the show, of a really big show that I've dieted for a long time and paid a buku amount of money to compete and participate in. And I don't feel like, you know, it was a good decision. I felt okay about it. It was a change. It was a decision for me that I wasn't going to go that way. And so at that point, I had already had photographers, videographers, doing photo shoots, doing video shoots of me with my body because of the muscles I had and the interest in the muscular body. And so, and the bodybuilding world, I remember at least on our local area, was just like really dying. And so one of the local promoters was like, ever since I first stepped on stage on a big level, I remember one time Gary Udit, who is like, I don't know if he's the head of the NPC, or I think he is, but I remember when I got off stage, he goes, girl, with that back and those wheels, you should bodybuild. And I didn't want to bodybuild because I was like, those girls are so muscular, they're so big, I don't want to look like that. Blah. And like, so from the very first time that I started like training, people were like, yo man, bodybuild. And I was like, no. And so then I looked at my body on stage in those photographs. And the thing that's really important to me at this point, at this process, is this process of going to train and getting stronger and staying in the game is part of my recovery. It's instrumental. It's who I be. And as I'm growing, right? And I don't really want necessarily to get huge and muscular, but I want to stay doing what I'm doing because it's so beneficial for me and I'm growing and I like it. And in its own way, it's my new passion. It's my new addiction. I can totally say that now looking back on that. I become addicted to building muscles and strength and power and order and stability and strength and structure and discipline. Absolutely. It's a great, great habit for me to be addicted to at that point, I think. I mean, I got no qualms on this. I have zero regrets on this. And so, so I decided to cross over into bodybuilding. And I decided that at my first show where I compete in bodybuilding, I ask if I can make it a really big deal and have some of these videographers and photographers there. And, you know, the show promoter, of course, is like all for it. They're like, yeah. So, I rock the house. I do my first show, and I get the whole crowd on its feet during my performance. And I'm in my element. It feels good. Even though I don't have the body that day that I wanted. I had a better body looking the week before because I'm early in this whole process of, in the bodybuilding world, we call it peaking your physique, where you show up on stage. Funny, because years later, I walk around now in my peak physique every single day. But back then, I think it's way more than it is. And so I manipulate the fuck out the process and overdo and underdo and flippity-do and then whatever. And so I don't look as good that day as I want to, but damn, I'm happy I'm on stage. And damn, I'm happy to be doing that routine and just to be there. And I love it. I love being in my body and giving that to the people watching me and feeling their joy and watching me. I love the exchange. I love that they know what's going on in my life, some of them, and that they're rejoicing in me as I'm there. And I celebrate me. Not even so much then. Now I do. I'm happy at that day, but I'm not celebrating me as much as I am now. I'm like happy, like look at me, I did it. But like, I don't think realizing the full magnitude of like, yo, this is my thing. Like, I can go back today and feel the feels of that day. And, I don't understand the magnitude of what the process is for me. So, I go pro in bodybuilding as a natural drug-free bodybuilder in 2009. And this is my life. And I'm getting different. I look back and see it now. I don't see it then. My persona is changing. The way I walk and carry myself is changing. I like getting bigger. I like getting stronger. I like feeling powerful. I don't know if it's yet, but I like feeling more like I don't need a man. I like feeling like I have the structure and the stability I desire. What I don't know then, that I know now, is this is the very, very beginning of the healing of my sacred masculine. So my relationship at that point is growing apart. The best way to put it are words that were given me by someone else. I love the way she put it. She said that when we get sober, we change the steps of the dance, and our partner doesn't even know that the dance changed, because like the way we interact, who we are, the things that we're about are just changing, and they're not necessarily changing with us. And the truth, the gospel truth of that dynamic for us and for all people who are in a relationship where one or more parties is an addict or an alcoholic or problematic in one or more behaviors, is that both people need help, because whatever the fuck is in your face, you're a match to. And I got told that by this beautiful woman the first time I went in the program. I don't know if I said that in the last broadcast, but when I went in there, she said, you both need help. And I said, no, 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 no. Only I need help. Like, he doesn't drink like me. She goes, you need help because you drink like an alcoholic. She goes, he needs help because normal people don't deal with bullshit like you. I was like, damn. And she's right. So at this point, we are clearly not working. We're not problematic like we used to be. We're just like, we don't know the dance. And we're trying, but we can't get the steps right, you know? So we part ways. And at the same time, I am meeting my next contract. During this time, okay, so I have switched now and I work at a powerhouse gym. Powerhouse in Woodbridge, Virginia. And that place was live. It was so much fun. I remember thinking it was the coolest place ever because they would play like inappropriate music doing work, really loud, like weight room music, bad words that you're not supposed to listen to, but we all do. And I loved it. I was in that phase of my life. I wanted to bang. I was intense. I, looking back on it, understand that now, like I said, this is the beginning of the healing of my sacred masculine. And so I'm becoming the man of my lineage. Like, I am really honing my discipline. At this point, like, I make and prepare all of the food that my children and I eat for every single meal. It is prepared ahead of time. I have it with us. We never miss a meal. We eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, regimented. We train. Like, I'm a drill sergeant. I operate, and I look like that, and I live like that, and it works for me. And I am attentive to my children and attentive to my kids in that way. And so, excuse me. I work at a powerhouse gym, and I remember I had been working out. I think I remember approximately what I was wearing, and that I came down the stairs and I looked over, and I remember seeing him for the first time. I remember the man that was with him. He had 2 men with him. One I met later, and the other one, I don't know who it was. But I remember that, you know, I had that feels in that moment. And again, it's funny because it's like that for me. I recognize it today. Then I did not. It was the same with my prior relationship. Like, there's that moment when I first see that person and we first interact and our fields interact, and conscious Heather is like, hey, hi, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, higher Heather is like, and all these other, like, full dimensional Heather is like, there's massive exchange going on in that moment. And it's like, this is the person you're about to bang with. And that's what happened in that moment. And so I got together with my ex-husband, who was at that point an active duty Marine. Let's see here. So this is where we start a new chapter. All right. When I meet him, I am moving out of the house I've lived in with my former fiance. I am moving into a house where I rent. I'm cold. My hands are cold. I'll have to see how long I can stay out here. I rent the bottom level of a woman's house who is an active duty police detective. In fact, she's the one. This is great. She's the one that tells me that when she goes to work one day and says, hey, I found someone to rent my basement, and they're like, who did you find? And she says, her name is Heather Peterson. And they're like, you mean the jumper? Go watch episode 1. Oh my God, I know. And I was like, oh shit, you know, but like, everybody can see that I'm on point. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really living, I'm walking the walk. Like, I'm actively practicing a program. It shows in my daily life. Like, I've really taken it to a new level. Like, I am all about the healthy, fit life. I am regimented. I really am. I'm so regimented. So when I meet George, like, you know, I'm packing all my food, I'm doing the do. And he is an active duty Marine. He is stationed at this place called the Mace, which is called the Martial Arts Center of Excellence in Quantico, Virginia. And he is he is a professional fighter. And so we have kind of similar things, you know. We're both very militant in our approach to life, and our training and how we get things done, you know. Like, we bang, man. He is also a fire rising sign. He's an Aries rising. I don't even know if he knows that. And bear with me. So we have a similar lifestyle, and we date for a while, and then we decide to start living together. It's funny because I remember there's so many things that I've thought about when I share this story. There goes my voice. It's interesting to share from the perspective I am now, which is so different from where I was then. I would like to try to share from both. I don't know how to do otherwise. Like, things that I see now, things that I understand now, I just didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, the story that comes to mind that makes me say this is, so I remember, like, when we're dating, and, you know, he's just a stud to me at that time. Like, I'm all about, like, how I think he's tough and I think he's strong. And truth be told, again, don't see it then, see it now. I met my dad. He operates just like my father. He is the same mindset, belief system, structure, cut from the same cloth as my dad. He says the same thing. We all agree on this. And so what I don't know then that I know now is that he's comfortable. Our way of doing things is the way I did things in growing up. So this is normal to me. And so I remember once, like, before we moved in together, I trained like a lot of clients a day at the gym. Then, like, I trained like 9 clients a day. And one of the reasons that I have not said before that I stayed in this business is that I could bring my kids with me. I could bring my kids, I could bring their food, I could put them in, like, every gym I was at had a daycare. You know, I always knew the woman in there. I could bring my kids activities. I could, you know, get them out in between clients. We could go wherever. I had my children with me. Like, ever since my kids were born, I refused to put them in a daycare. I refused to have someone else raise my kids. That's why I was willing to work in a nightclub. That's why I was willing to work like this. You know, everyone's choices are personal, but these are mine, and this is what I wanted. I wanted to raise my own kids. I wanted to be around my kids, so I brought them with me so they were always there. Because I had them all the time also. So I've always had them all the time. So they were with me, and I remember when they would go to bed, when I would put them to bed, I would go outside at night and I still smoked cigarettes in the closet. Like, I didn't smoke. I think I smoked I probably smoked throughout my day, but what I would do is, I think I mentioned it before, like, I would literally wear a different jacket, put a hood on, spray my hands, spray my breath, wash my hands, that I didn't want to smell like smoke. Not only because I couldn't let people in my business, I felt like, as this healthy personal trainer, know that I was a smoker. I also didn't like the smell of it myself. It was just like, you know, my secret. It was my shameful secret. So when the kids went to sleep, I went out back of where we lived, and I sat on the edge there and smoked, like, you know, quite a few cigarettes. And so I walked outside, and I guess one night I remember, because I would wear like shoes, and back then I wore these like flare pants, these flare fitness pants, and they came down over my shoes. I was a fitness clothing whore. I had, like, I don't know, 16 pairs of tennis shoes of every color. So anyway, irrelevant. But I must have got bit by I got bit by a brown recluse, and so I remember, I didn't know I got bit, but I mean, that's the only place I could have got bit. I just know that when I was in the shower the next day, my leg had swelled up so big that I had this great big huge bump on my leg. And I went to see George at the Mace that day, and the medic took a look at it, and he was like, "You got bit by something, you need to go get that cultured and drained." And so when I went to the hospital, they drained my leg, and said it was possible that I had a little bit of MRSA, and their cultured and everything decided that I had probably got bit by a brown recluse, is what they said. Not very reclusive, are they? But that they couldn't get anything definitive about it. But anyway, I was really freaked out, and so I had to stay in the hospital for a while. And I remember calling him and being like really upset and really scared, and him saying something to the extent of, you know, "That's cool, I'm glad you know," or whatever. And then, you know, I got to hit the rack, which means I got to go to bed. And I was like, okay. And I didn't ask him to come stay with me, and I didn't ask him to come help me, but I was butthurt that he didn't, and I was totally upset. And I remember calling my sponsor, and it was instrumental, because I remember saying, well, I didn't ask him to come, but I feel like he should have come, because I don't know if I'm okay and I'm scared. And I remember him saying something to the extent of, these are the things that you pay attention to. You pay attention to what you need first, that you've recognized what you need. Then you need to pay attention to, are you willing to ask for it? And that you might not get what you need from these people. Now, I share this because he drew my attention to a dynamic that was present from the beginning that I refused to see. In all ways that I just mentioned, now that I think about it. And so, I was so amazing and so healed with my 2 years sober. Duh, look at me go and grow. That I was gonna go into this relationship and I was just gonna make it better. I was just gonna love on him. I was gonna take care of him. I mean, I was all into this mothering thing then, and this recovery thing, and all this amazing. And I was gonna make it all better, you know? And so that was my attitude. And so I think at that point, that's all I was gonna see. I was out to create my self-worth because I look back on it, I didn't have any. I was gonna go be a little soldier and go to work and go create who I was for my performance. This is when I became a performance-based being. And so the girls and I moved in with him, but first I had to get that house ready. He lived with another Marine and a friend, and the story was that they didn't have, you know, time to take care of the house, and that nobody was ever home, and they had 2 dogs, and the dogs messed up the whole house in every way imaginable, and the dogs weren't taken care of. And I don't know what everyone else's story was, but what I heard was other people were supposed to be taking care of those dogs in the house. And I don't know, it just seemed to me also that like everybody was heavily burdened. Like they had some crazy hours and they worked really hard. And so I was gonna go make it better. I was gonna go make that situation better. And so I went in that house and I got that house ready. I cleaned that house from top to bottom, including the downstairs bathroom, which was packed with dirty clothes. These gentlemen, instead of deciding to do laundry, had thrown all their dirty clothes in a bathroom for I don't know how long and filled the bathroom from the very bottom to the very ceiling so that you couldn't open the door. And then they just kept cramming stuff and then closed the door. Like, I guess they probably had to stand against the door and close the door together. It's crazy. It's so funny. And I was gonna love on those dogs. I was gonna clean the house, love on the dogs, love on the man, clean the yard, get all the shit out of the yard and the house, literally. And get everything in order and take care of everybody. And that's what I did, damn it. I got a friend of mine named Vasily, who used to call me Princess. And he was a contractor and he had his own business and he was also in recovery with me. And during that time, he was in a good spell. He had already been dead one time before. And he was in a good spell during this time. And he came and helped me clean up and paint that house. And it was funny because I remember when he showed up, he goes, Princess, this is worse than a crack house. And he would know because he was a heroin addict and a recovering alcoholic. And had dabbled in a few things. And I remember him saying that, and we were both like, hee about it, because you know what? We were 2 damaged kids that weren't gonna see too much of the problem. I wanted what I wanted, and he was my friend, and I wanted him to help me, and he was gonna help me, and we were gonna make that house beautiful, damn it. And we did. Vasily's no longer here. He died another time after that and came back. And then he died another time and did not come back. I used to giggle with that man like a little kid. We were like two little kids. That's just it. There's nothing we couldn't do. And we had an ability to see the positive in any situation to a beautiful degree if we could both channel it, obviously to a not healthy degree if you can't. So I got this house in order and I got it beautiful. And then in classic Heather fashion, I took over everything. I took over our life. I took over our eating. I took over our structure. I look back on it, you know, like I said you couldn't sleep on a mattress on the floor. I said you had to have clean sheets. You know, it's my no one ever said, hey Heather, I want you to make this room better, or I think you should become a clean freak, or no outside edges showing in the linen closet. Like, this is all my own shit, you know what I mean? And so during this time, I'm still operating my business, Fit Mama Fitness. The kids are in school. George is an active duty Marine. He goes to work really early and then teaches courses off and on, and then comes home at like 5. And then he goes to train often. And so depending on what he's getting ready for, that's a lot. Like, it's a lot, because I completely take over our diet and our supplementation. At this point, I am a nutrition whiz and I'm a supplement whiz. That man that I had lived with before, I don't know if I said any of this before, he had been through 27 surgeries, 13 of which we went through together. 13 surgeries I helped him rehab, and used my own body to figure out what we couldn't do on his. Because with a body like that, it's not like go to page 76 of the rehab journal and rehab this, because if he doesn't have cartilage here and can't bend that and can't work that, then he can't do that. So you have to figure out how to use this and manipulate that and strengthen the belly of this without pulling on the origin of that, okay? So I got really good. And he was already doing his thing for his own body. He like cut weight on his own, did his own diet, did his own nutrition, and then he helped other Marines make tape, which military has a way that you, it tries to say that you're fit or not. And so they have to pass that test in order to, you know, stay in good standings in the military. So he would help people with their diets and help people do that and stuff. And so so during this time, in fact I have pictures of this, it's so funny, I make all our food, everyone's food, like I make everybody's. When he wakes up, all his food is packed in containers with a printout that tells him what he's eating, what time he's eating it, and what his macros are. And it is in support and in knowledge of his day. Meaning, like, I know what time he gets up, I know what time he trains, I know what time he has lunch, I know what time he trains again. And this diet is in complete support of that. All measured out, all bagged up, just like pick it up and walk out the door. I've sent the kids lunch because I'm not down with school food. So their lunch has been made and sent. In fact, I don't know why I thought about this. It's funny too, because at that point the kids have had to have an education that our nutrition is not for everyone. Like, we eat a certain way, but they're not supposed to go tell other people. In fact, when they were little, they used to say, Mommy eats bikini food. I used to go to school lunch. Long story short, when the kids came home in kindergarten one time, first time they had school lunch, they got to have school lunch on Fridays. So my daughter comes home and says, I said, what'd you have for lunch? She says, green beans. I'm like, well, what else did you have? And she's like, just green beans. And I'm like, honey, you can have this. She didn't understand. So I said, Mommy will go with you next Friday and I will I will help you have lunch. So I used to go with them, and every Friday I would go with them, have school lunch, and I would bring my own lunch, and it would always be some random ass crap. So one time this little girl says, what are you eating? And she says, my daughter says, that's bikini food. our mom does bikini contests. This is when I was doing figure stuff. And I was like, no, mommy does figure contests, because I was like, that makes it sound like you jump up on the bar at Hooters. Let's not get it twisted. But anyway, so I had taught the girls from an early age that I ate food, a certain type of food, for a certain deal, to look a certain way and to achieve a certain function. I never said I was fat. I never said I had to be skinny. I never said any of those words. I said, mom does this thing, so I eat this way. We eat this way. So they eat their lunch, and then we all have, dinner together, unless someone is, it depends. I mean, we either have food at the gym together, the kids and I eat together. But anyway, everyone's food is made. I got the kids training, even when they're in school and little. And then, let's see here, 2009 into 2010, in 2009 into 2010, let's see here, that was 2009. In 2010, I got pregnant, amenorrheic, and on birth control. I didn't really know what was wrong with me and why I felt the way I felt, because I didn't think it was possible to get pregnant like that, and I did. And so I went from not being sure I was even ever going to have kids again to understanding I was pregnant, to George and I accepting that we were pregnant. Like, he was in shock, and we were like, whoa, okay. And then to deciding, okay, like, this is what it is, this is what we're gonna do, and to telling the girls that we were pregnant, and to everyone being really excited about it. So then the next step was to go to the doctor and confirm the pregnancy and to start getting treatment. And so for that first appointment, that morning when I was supposed to go in for that first appointment, I started bleeding. I forgot to say something. That weekend, I think it was that weekend before, this is June. I think this is June, and it's hot in Virginia. It's really hot, and our AC goes out, and I remember George is gone. Like, he has to go somewhere for the Marine Corps. The girls aren't there. I think they're spending the weekend with their dad, and it's the dogs and I, and it's really hot. Like, it's just so hot, and it's hot, but it's not like unbearably hot, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like ridiculously hot, like we should get out the house or anything like that. But I feel like that. I just don't feel good. I feel so sick because I'm hot, and I remember I have fans on me and everything, but I just don't feel like I can get cool, and I just don't feel good. And so I think it's probably like a Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember exactly, but when I go to that appointment, I start bleeding that morning. And by the time I get to the appointment, she says that the test shows that I'm negative for pregnancy. So I tell her everything that's going on, and they decide that I probably was pregnant and that my body miscarried the pregnancy. And I think I got too hot. That's why I share that. All of a sudden, I just kind of understood that that's what had happened. And we were devastated. We had gone from thinking, being shocked, and me being in absolute and total disbelief, not knowing if that was something I was willing to do again, to I'll just finish this here, to accepting and then deciding to be excited about it. So I remember I thought George was really cool about it. He said, well, if that's what we want, we can make it happen. And so I was like, well, we should decide because I have to get fat enough to get a period, or I'm gonna compete. That's where I was at. Like, I was at this stage in my life where I was always doing something with my body, because that's how I stay regimented. That's a big way I stay regimented, through my physical body, which, by the way, is the way we all stay regimented. It's a kinetic body, and it's the host of it's the spaceship for our stay here, but didn't know that yet. So thank God the urge to be in my body has always been so strong for me. So I say that to him. I was like, it's so funny, because that's what I say. I like pretty much give him an ultimatum. I was like, we're either getting pregnant or I'm competing. So we decide we're gonna get pregnant. So I back off my diet and my training enough to increase my body fat, enough to allow my menstrual cycle to return. I don't purposely train or diet in a way to remove my menses. My natural state for most of my adult life has been to stay lean, to the degree that I do not have a period. I've had my gas exchange measured a couple times, and I have the gas exchange like the VO2 max of a male. I just have some phenomenal genetics. It's cute, because the girls tell my son, Mommy got fat enough to be pregnant with you. Mommy had to get fat enough. So I increased my body fat enough to allow my menses to return for one menstrual cycle, and we got pregnant. I love that, because I was at a place in my life where I knew what I wanted. I was with a partner that wanted it too, and we decided to get pregnant and to bring a child into this world. We made a conscious decision, like, I was all here, you know? And so we got pregnant with my son. And then we decided to get married then. So we got married right then. I did one of the things that I do continue. There are very few things in my life that I regret, and I will say that. And I don't know if I want to choose that word. I will say that I would choose to do differently. I don't spend time in regret. I think everything happens for a reason. But like most of the things of my past, I would not change. Like the most heinous things that you might think I would change, I would not. There are a few things that I would change though. And this is one of them. We got married. I didn't tell my parents. I was ashamed of. I just assumed that they would not be happy, and I projected an outcome and an expectation on them that had nothing to do with them. It had nothing to do with them. It was 100% me, and I didn't tell them I was pregnant. And we got married with my girls. They made rings for us. We got married in our like regular clothes, with a preacher wearing jeans, in the parking lot of our church in Fredericksburg, Virginia, or Stafford, Virginia. I'm not sure which. I can't remember. And that was that. We told them later, and I think it devastated my parents. I get how that feels now as a grown-up. Karma's a bitch. Anyway, we got married, and I felt the pregnancy pretty immediately. It started to affect everything. It affected the way I ate. It affected the way I slept. It affected my thinking. It started to, of course, change my hormones and the way I see myself. Like, I am a very different pregnant woman. I have been, okay, so now, it's funny. I haven't thought about this in a few 24. The way I see it now is different than the way I used to see it. When I'm pregnant, I'm very vulnerable. I'm very primal. I'm very feminine. I'm very I am with child, you protect me, make cave safe. I feel very like that, which when I'm not like that. I'm like, possibly my cave. I make it safe. We do it my way. Excuse me. So this is like a primal contrast for me and for him. And in that, I start to see that I might want to do these things different. I really don't want to have a baby in daycare. I train 9 clients a day right now. I train a lot of clients a day in the gym. I don't really want to have it that way. There might be a different way. I need to come up with something different. Here I am about to undergo pregnancy and then have a baby. So what's that look like? So it is, I have really erratic sleeping patterns in my pregnancy, during the beginning of my pregnancy. And my little man likes to party all night, and then he wants to crash out in the wee hours of the morning, and then like sleep till late morning. And that would be groovy, except that I have 2 older kids that I have to get up for in the morning and get ready for school. And so it ends up that I am awake most of the night, and then I fall asleep in the wee hours of the morning on the couch. And then because I don't want to disrupt anyone else's schedule with what's going on with me. And then I wake up and then, get the girls ready for school and do all our food for the day, and then get ready for my day. And if I remember correctly, I only want to eat some foods, and I don't feel as good. So I can already see that my physical energy is starting to change. And if I remember correctly, I got big pretty fast. Like, not everywhere else. I was like jacked and diesel, but I got like a tummy. Like, I started to show pretty quickly. So I have time, like, in this very meditative pocket, in the wee hours of the night, when the house is quiet and the dogs are asleep and no one is talking to me and no one needs my attention, and I can create. And so I start to formulate a business. I start to formulate an idea first that currently most of the nutrition and athletes I work with are, it's primarily aesthetic. Like, I have performance athletes in the way that, like, I train people for like young men getting ready to get in the military, and they have to pass X amount of requirements and tests, or someone training to become a sheriff's deputy, right, has to pass X amount of tests or whatever, things like that. But most of those people also have to, like, they have to also not have aesthetic, but they have to meet like weight requirements and stuff like that, diet requirements. But my primary focus in my business at that point is on aesthetic athletes, people who want to compete in either figure or bikini or bodybuilding or models, people who want to look a certain way or get ready for an event, right? And George's focus is making weight for an event, primarily fights. And like I said, making tape. But those are different schools of thinking, and our approaches were very different, because making someone look a certain way and making someone feel a certain way can be 2 different things. And just like people are always surprised by the amount that I weigh when they see pictures of me, or they understand that, like, whoa, you weigh that much at this size? Like, how do you weigh 160 pounds and you're a size 6? How does that work? Because you're solid as a rock, right? So eating to look a certain way and to have an aesthetic bodybuilding body is very different than eating to make weight and have a body that performs a certain way. You don't want the weight of the food. You don't want the weight of those muscles. You don't even want the bulk of some of those muscles, depending on the event you're competing in. If you're fighting, you don't want super bulky forearms like mine that look diesel and amazing. That mess will get you stuck, you know? So these are really two different schools of thinking. And I see a way that we can capitalize on this and put it into possibly a business like I already do, and put it together and make it so I can do this and I can come out of the gym and be home with the kids. So in the middle of the night, I purchased a URL called For Fighters by Fighters. And I began building a business. I'm sorry, building a website with the beautiful Simon Lacolin, who's a Canadian man, and he built my Fit Mama Fitness website. And I love Simon like Simon loves me, because I am a super creative, okay? I am a powerhouse manifestor generator. And he said to me later, if I had any idea your website was going to be that entailing, I would have charged you triple what I charged you. But not only did I not know, I mean, he didn't know, I didn't know, we didn't know what we were building. So I had already worked with Simon, and I had a really good working relationship with Simon. So I started to build the website, and I would work in the wee hours of the night, and then get some sleep, and then wake the kids up and go about their day. And this was a pretty easy start, because I already had all of the stuff. I used to make these little client folders with all this printed information, literally like old school. They got a red peachy folder, you know what I mean, with like the 3-hole punch, because this is before like all the digital times. Like, this is old school, you know. I mean, I started this stuff in 2004. So like when I had a nutrition client, they got this folder, and it was red because that was my color, red for Fit Mama Fitness. And they had the folder had their diet in it, it had their food options in it, it had the food bank categories printed out for them to choose from. You know, like if you don't want to eat this example meal, if you don't want to eat this, go choose from this, right? And so they could flip through that and teach themselves how to eat. The difference was back then, we didn't even have all of the nutrient apps and stuff like that. So I used to do that shit in an old school nutrition book. You know what I mean? Like, I had to go through the back of the book and get all the nutrition information out the back of the book. And I used to have so much of it memorized back then, because that's the way we worked. It's kind of like now with the GPS. I don't know my way anywhere anymore, because I just use that damn thing. It's like that too. I don't remember. It used to be a joke. We used to host UFC parties, and people would be like, Heather, how many ounces of chicken is this? And hold up their chicken, and I would be like 3.27, and I would be like to the 100th. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so it was a pretty natural transition, because we took all this information and we put it in digital format, and then we uploaded our information. We uploaded we started advertising. We made the website to advertise the business, and then the business became that we at that point put together a nutrition program. Started as an Excel program with these food banks and these food lists, right? Logged into the Excel thing. We made it so you could swap it out and choose it on the Excel program. And then we started going to all of the local venues that were relevant. So like I got on social media, and you have to understand too, like, I get it today. I'm loud. My field is loud. I am a highly attractive magnet. If I want to make a buzz about something, the buzz be. But I didn't know back then. I just thought like, wow, this is natural. I'm just doing, this is just, I come to this naturally. Okay, so let's pause for a second here. I'm creating a business here for performance nutrition aimed at the fighter. And I know nothing about MMA. Nothing. Okay? He is an active duty Marine and he is a professional fighter, but I know nothing about this. Like, when we met and then before we started dating, he came to see me. Like, we met, you know, and we kind of exchanged this little thing, but we don't like really say anything to each other other than like, what's up? And he's like, I'm like, I'm a trainer. And he's like, oh, you know, I need some core work. And so he comes to see me and I take him through a couple core workouts and he like can't move. And he's like, yo, you're legit. I'm like, you think? And so then we end up dating after that. But I know nothing about MMA, but what I do know is the athlete and the body. I am a wizard with muscles and nutrition and performance and the body. And so once, if you just show me what the sport is, or like help me understand the qualifications for your performance, I will help you get better at whatever it is. I will help you improve your golf swing. I will make you a faster swimmer. I will help you jump higher. I will increase your muscular endurance. Like, you just have to tell me what it is you do. I don't have to know your sport. So I'm starting to understand MMA at this point, but I understand what we can do, okay, if we put this together. Like, there's really no limit. The sky is the limit, and no one's done this, okay? No one's done this. At this point, I start doing the research for all of the nutrition systems online, like Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers, everything. And everything is portion-based and calorie-based. Nothing is performance-based. Nothing has anything to do with the body composition. Everything has to do with some stupid fucking quack-ass shit that people that think they should be on some 1,200 and 1,500 calorie bullshit diet, which barely feeds anybody, by the way, unless you're an idiot savant that just sits there. And even then, you're still channeling a shitload of energy, so that's probably not enough. And that was a stupid joke, and I shouldn't have said it. But anyway, moving right along. And so all of these systems out there are calorie-based and portion-sized, and they're not nutrient-based. Like, you can eat 100-calorie pack of Oreos, or you can eat 3 ounces of chicken and get 100 calories, and one is going to fuel you completely different than the other, okay? So this is where this is different. What we're doing is different. What we're making is a nutrition system that fuels your body in a way that you can perform and you can look like you want and you can weigh what you want, or you can look like you want. You can pretty much do the same, but you kind of got to pick a focus on it if we want to get extreme. For the average person, you can do both. We're talking about elite athletes here, okay? Elite athletes. The professional bodybuilder has to look a certain way. He does not care as much about his performance, and towards the end of a show he knows he's going to gas going up the stairs, whereas the professional MMA fighter cannot gas going up the stairs and does not care if his muscles are not chiseled, if his performance is on point and his weight is on point. Okay, 2 different things here on this level. So we're offering something that's brand new, and I start researching how pioneer we are, how good what we have is. And then we start trying it out. I find every local CrossFit gym, every local MMA gym, every local BJJ gym, anything that's like that, and ask if we can come do a nutrition seminar. We come offer a nutrition seminar for free, and then you can sign up for our program. I think initially it was like $30. You can sign up for like $30. Excuse me. And get this nutrition system and our support. And then I get on social media. I make all of our social media accounts. I make his personal accounts. I make my personal accounts. I make our business accounts. And I create quite a buzz. I also at that time, like at that point, I get on Twitter. This is awesome. This is such a great story. I get on Twitter and I am buzz about our business. And I told you I know nothing about MMA, but I'm a good networker. I'm a people person, and I understand the body. And so I become Twitter friends with, at that point, I don't know what she goes by now, if she's still around, this is a long time ago, she called herself Tap Out Crooklyn back then. And she is one of the DJs or the announcers for Tap Out Radio. And so she and I become chummy, and Tap Out grants me an interview. If I remember correctly, what sticks in my head, and I'm not sure why, is that the business has been around officially for 3 months at this time. And we are fledglings. And we're like literally like in our heads, like, you know, George is just still active duty Marine all day. I'm like, you know, legit trainer, and we have like important jobs and we do our stuff, but like we're just new at this. Do you know what I mean? And so when I'm talking to her and the guy, I forget, his little call sign is like a Australian kangaroo or something like that. Forgive me, I don't remember his name. But anyway, the two hosts are asking me, they're like, so what do you think about, oh God, I just freaking spaced his name. Cowboy Roy or something like that. I can't, this is so bad. I should have done my research before I got on here. Roy, I want to say, is his name Roy Nelson? Roy Nelson was a UFC fighter. He went by Cowboy something. He was a heavyweight fighter for the UFC at that point. And she's talking about this guy. I'm on a radio interview and I don't know who she's talking about because I know nothing about MMA. But we're like trying to be the authority on MMA nutrition. Okay? And so as she's talking, I'm like searching on my phone to try to find out who this guy is. And I see a picture of him, and she's asking me, how does that work? Because he's got a big gut and he's a great fighter. And so I do know the answer to that one. I do know the answer to that. And I don't have to know the fighter, right? And so I explain something like I just said to you. Performance nutrition is not the same as aesthetic nutrition. You can see people that have great bodies and they're not in any kind of shape, and their hearts are not healthy, and their systems are not healthy, and their circulatory system might not be very healthy. And then you can see people that, and I have met lots of men like this, that don't look like too much athletic, and then you're like, whoa, he beat some ass in the ring. You know what I mean? So those are totally different things and totally different levels of performance in the body. Okay, that's not the word I'm looking for, but ways the body shows up, right? And so I'm able to talk about how this body performs. And so that interview was huge for us. It gets us on the map. At the same time, I start networking. Back then we have forums. And so this is also challenging for me because I'm getting on forums to promote a business that I know nothing about. So, and you can't just show up in a forum and start talking about your business. It's frowned upon. It's rude. You can't just show up in the playground and be like, hi, I'm new on the playground. I know I don't know you. I know you guys have all been here for a while. You all share the same interests. You talk about the same things and you support each other, but I'm a new person, but buy my shit. You know what I mean? Like, no. So I have to learn how to play on a playground I've never been before. And so I have to start networking with people in jargon that I do not understand, that I know nothing about. And so what I do is I get on these forums and I befriend the editors of some of the forums and the platforms and the magazines. Like, I think it was called Low Kick magazine, Anton Low Kick, and Share Dog, and like I said, Tap Out, and anything where there's a buzz about this type of stuff, I go get known and start talking. And by this point we have tons of people using our diet. We're at every amateur fight. I'm pregnant. We're wearing our shirts. The kids are wearing the shirts. The kids aren't allowed to watch fights though. So the kids have to like sit around the corner with all of our food. We always have our food. I always have our food. Plus, like, back then too, it wasn't just about the nutrition, it was about staying on a damn budget. You know what I mean? Like, shit, we had to make this shit work. we got an active duty Marine salary, and me taking away from my money I had made as a trainer and starting this new thing, you know? And we were starting from the ground up with nothing. He was working hard, you know. Some days he'd be really broke off from work and still have to like work on plans, and it was a lot. He did all of the fighters plans. I did anyone that was like CrossFit, aesthetic, or female. I did all theirs, and we cranked out a shitload of nutrition programs. I also continued to make personal training programs for a lot of athletes, and we became the buzz. During that time, we contracted with our first professional fighters. I'm not sure who came first. This is when we started working with Dustin Poirier, Rory McDonald, Kenny Florian, which was that was the first. Dustin Poirier was the first really big weight cut that George did. I mean, just like a massive weight cut. And then that's when everything got real loud. Like, that's when the magazines and the interviews started, and everybody wanted our services, and admin became a lot, business became a lot, because like I said, George did the nutrition and the diets for the fighters, but I ran the business and our family and our home, and I did all of our advertising, all of our networking, all of our billing, and we were really growing, and it was a lot. So this is the point when we work with John Bones Jones. We have WWE athletes that we were under contract to remain quiet about, so I believe it's only kind and professional to do the same now. At this point, we start contracting for big nutrition seminars. I prepare very professional packets for George to fly out to like the big gyms, like Tim Creeder's and Jackson's gym, and the places where like the big name athletes are, and to give nutrition seminars to the professional and amateur athletes at these gyms, and for them to purchase our services. And at this point, we also start, let's see here. At this point, we're growing and we're getting big, and it's becoming a lot. And so we need some help. And so a man has moved and started at the MACE, that's the Martial Arts Center of Excellence, with George. His name is Daniel Leith. And he and George totally take to each other. And Dan expresses an interest in nutrition, and an interest in what we do, and an interest in this life. And when these guys are there, they are martial arts instructors, so they already have a background in fighting and martial arts. Each of them, they've been trained by the Marine Corps, and I would imagine each of them independently too. I don't know, and I don't want to comment on that and speak ill or inadequately of anyone in their training. But so we ask, just felt like doing that. We ask Daniel Leith if he wants to come aboard our business, and he does. So we start training him to do so. I'm really pregnant at this time. I usually bring lunch to the MACE and start teaching him. I teach him, George teaches him. and we teach him our science and teach him how to do it and what to do in this case and whatever. And then we give him almost like, we show him how we're taking through this client through this, and this is his diet, and this is how it's working, and this is his charted weight loss, this is where he is, this is what he's charted for, you know, and we teach him everything. And then we start giving him some clients. So he starts taking some clients. He ends up, we keep growing, he ends up with a full client load. And at that point, we're like, we need help, you know? So at this point, we decide to, also at this point, there we go. Also at this point, it comes up that George is going to take another tour and he is going to be commissioned overseas. Like he's gonna, I don't know if those are the right words, he's gonna have to go overseas for his next assignment. And I grew up in the military and I really don't want that. I think that when he gets back, the girls will remember and have to reacclimate, but the baby won't know him, will get to know him, and won't have him there. And I want the kids to know their dad. So we decide we're making enough money that we can get out of the Marine Corps. And so massive, huge, holy crap, we're going for it moment. He is at a point at 10 years that he can choose to get out or stay in. And I think if I remember correctly with what he did, he would be like home for 6 and gone for 6. So we make the decision to get out of the Marine Corps and move down to the Atlanta area, where we're going to open an MMA gym with Brian Stan, also another MMA fighter, I'm sorry, UFC fighter, and run our business. And we hire a man named Spencer Caldwell to become the computer programmer to create an actual program of our science. We need help. Like when someone comes to me at this point and they say they want a program, like I have to talk to them and ask them several questions. Even though we've like got a questionnaire for all this and all that now, I still have to send you the questionnaire. You have to give me back the questionnaire. I have to review the questionnaire. I have to decide what that means. Like, are you a performance athlete? Are you an aesthetic athlete? Like, what kind of program do we need for you? And then I have to ask you a whole series of questions about your lifestyle. And I need to know how much you sleep and what your daily activity is like and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And so if we have a computer program that can do this process for us, then we can just cookie cutter cut what we do and offer our services to more people, and then offer that base level to more people, and then restrict the more custom personalized services to the more higher paying, higher performing client that needs the real deal, you know? So that's what we do. We start building this program, and we come down to Atlanta and we buy a house. The trip is a shit show. We're in a 27-foot U-Haul truck. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up for today. We come down in a 27-foot U-Haul truck with 2 dogs, a newborn baby, and it's fully loaded. And our house falls through, and we have a hopping business. So we are like parking the U-Haul at Starbucks so we can crack out our laptops and figure out a new house, a place to stay, and how to talk to clients that you have to talk to every day. Like, you have to talk to these people every day, multiple times a day. Like, some of these people need to know, like, hey, I ate this and I weigh this now. I need to know now. Like, it's minute to minute texting. Like, this is chaos. Life is chaos. And we have a newborn baby, and I am depressed and moody and hormonal and disconnected. And George is overworked and alarmed and probably stressed to the nth degree because he has a whole family and everything just fell through. And we're in a business where we are growing and thriving and really excelling. Excuse me, but the truth of it is, like, both of us are kind of like scared because neither of us has like degrees in any of this, and we're getting to a level where people start talking like that. They're like, well, what do you have a degree in this? Did you learn this because you have a degree in that, because you studied this? And both of us are like, yo, we've been working with real people for like a long time and doing it with our bodies, and pretty much both of us can make anything happen. That's what our street cred is. Which we know that, but like, we're not in a place yet, either of us, where we feel like we're really owning that. So I remember at that time, like, I'm telling him that. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you feel that way. Like, look what you do. Like, it doesn't matter if you went to school for nutrition. Like, you just made that happen. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting time for us, and we don't have support when we come down here. I remember when we first came down here, I want to drink. It's like the time when I got sober, I just really wanted to drink because I felt utterly alone, and now my hormones are whacked. And it was hard to get through. And we did. I mean, like, we got the business on track. We got a house. We just happened upon this house. We got a realtor, and it was a trip too, because like there was a man that he was getting ready to deploy to Iraq, I believe, and his house was being foreclosed, I think, and it had a month, so it was just gonna sit there for a month. And so he told his realtor to tell our realtor that we could stay there. So we stayed in this house with a newborn baby and this business and all our furniture at this point now off that 27-foot truck in this dude's garage, and our dogs in his backyard, and a mattress on the floor. That's when I wanted to drink. I was just so overwhelmed. It was just so much. Thank God the girls were still with my parents up north. My parents were keeping them till we got settled here, you know, and then they were going to come down and get in the house. But it was chaos. And it's a trip because, you know, George and I do what we always do. We got to that Gold's Gym right there. We both always had that. We've both always gone back to working it out with our physical bodies when things get to be too much. So we got to that Gold's, and we continued to work with this contractor. I'm a computer programmer, and we got a house in this amazing neighborhood that just happened to be like randomly left on an auction, because we never would have been able to afford that house in that neighborhood. We got in this really nice house, and we got set up in the house, and then we kicked off this gym called Warriors Legion in Alpharetta, and we began this new life where he taught full-time at the gym, so we were trying to create programs at the gym, generate things to do there, you know, women's fitness, regular kickboxing, regular MMA classes, brand new octagon, freaking beast-ass gym. And trying to still expand and grow the business, get the kids in new school system, and raise a baby. Becoming the authority nutrition in the UFC and in the MMA and the CrossFit world. That's where I'm going to leave off today. I'm going to leave off for today, and next time I will pick up from here and go from there. This is episode 2. Please go to my YouTube channel and watch episode 1. I'd love it if you shared it. This is a really great story. It's going to take me a minute to tell it. I'm really thankful y'all are here today. I'm really thankful for all of the parties that participate in my story, that help me become who I am and grow. And I'm really grateful to be able to share today. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for loving on me. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and please turn on notifications so you can tune in next time for the next episode. I love you. Thank you for being here. I love you. I love you. I love you.